Hi quilters. Today we are going to be doing the pattern called chips and salsa. Chips and salsa is using a layer cake. This one is made by Allison Glass and it is out of print. And then I'm going to use some 2.5-inch squares, mini charms. How do you make chips and salsa? Let me show you. So like I said before, this is going to be utilizing a 10-inch square and a 2.5-inch mini charm. I am going to take my whole layer cake and I'm going to cut them down the middle. And then I'm going to set half of them aside. And then the other half, I'm going to do covered corners on. Like you are dipping the chip, the potato chip, in the salsa. This being the salsa. So I'm going to make sure that my rotary blade is sharp. And I am going to stack about 3 pieces of fabric on top of one another. And we all know that layer cakes are not perfectly square. So I'm going to do my best to keep everything facing in the right direction. I'm going to measure at approximately 5 inches from the edge. And I'm going to make a cut. Alright, I have my layer cake cut in half. Beautiful fabrics. This took me less than 5 minutes. We all know that, again, these are not accurate, but we are going to do with this the best we can. So let's get started on the mini charm on the corners. I'm going to set half of these aside. I am always going to select a corner and stick with that corner for the whole quilt. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and opt to do this corner and this corner. And I am going to do covered corners. This is where you would draw your line from corner to corner, sew on the line, and then trim off the excess. I have a ruler and I am going to line it up and make my cut. And I see that I've got extra. We'll deal with that in a minute. And I'm going to run this through my sewing machine. Potentially I could also sew this and put this as a border or a backing. I'm going to go ahead and sew this as well. And because we're not going to be matching these covered corner seams, it doesn't matter which way you press them. I'm going to turn this around and I'm going to do it on this corner. I'm going to take the time right now to make sure that this measures, then do my covered corner. Also, I'm going to take the time to sew my remaining covered corner half square triangle. Alright, I have trimmed off my excess. They actually gave me extra. That was nice. And now I am going to repeat this process with another 2.5-inch square or my pieces of salsa. Alright, covered corner on this one. And again, I'm going to finger press out I'm going to do a bunch of these and then take them to my iron. The trick with this is you need to make sure your chips and your salsa contrast each other. If you look through all of these prints, I've got black, gray, white, off-white, and rainbow prints. I need to make sure that I selected a color for my covered corners that is going to contrast. You want this to show up. All right. All of these half square triangles are now ready for another project. Or this one. I haven't decided which. I have finger pressed all of these. Insert a record scratch here. This will work, but I was going for something like this. I designed this in EQ8 and I wanted to see what it would look like with my vision before I actually sewed it. I did not go import the old Alice in Glass fabric line, and I kind of assumed that my yellow corners would kind of disappear. And it looks like right here, let's see, right here, it looks like a wonky bow tie to me. It's not the look I was going for. So I took out, I wanted neutrals, but I did not have the money to go buy the Adidas Sitar fabric line pebbles. I went ahead, got out my neutrals. Some of them are very contrasting and hard. Some of them are loud. Some of them are quiet. Some are white. Some are off-white. Some are pink. Some are blue. I wanted to get the same soft effect, so I took my stash and I cut it down to 10-inch squares. I managed to get either half a strip, so a 5 by 10, or a full square, and I was able to do more than 40 prints in the quilt. That satisfied my curiosity, so I'm going to show you the process of what I did with that. Filming 2 different weekends, there was a gap in me commentating, so I'm filling this in after the fact because I screwed up. We went from this to working the other without an explanation. There's my explanation. So I have inserted more footage of my other neutral colorway that really satisfied my thirst. I have everything sewn in rows now, and I will join, and I say rows, columns. For my design wall, I can sew everything in a row, but pinning it up, I have to pin it up because it won't stay up. If I do it in a column, I don't have to pin it. So this quilt is very easy when you press your seams. You always press to the blank square without the corners. And so this is pressed this way, this is pressed this way, and it undulates throughout the whole thing. So all your seams will nest beautifully. Takeaways from this. This was a great way to get rid of some of my loud neutrals. So this fabric I've had since about 2018. I bought it at the Dallas Quilt Show, and it is gorgeous fabric. But every time I went to use it, it has too much going on. The print is too big. I could not use it in my neutrals like I had planned. There's one right up, right there. That's a big floral neutral. Again, very hard to use. Some of the dark neutrals, I've had that since probably 2005. I have almost finished all of that up. I am excited because I don't know what I was thinking whenever I bought all that fabric. I think that this is showing up on camera. It is showing up more in real life. That's the thing. Y'all, have you ever made a quilt that you just adore? It's beautiful. But then you snap a photo of it and it doesn't read that in the photo. That is the trick that we YouTubers are still trying to figure out, because when we design a quilt and we are sewing it, it may be that it does not come off like it comes off in person. And so y'all are seeing blah or less than stellar, when in real life it is beautiful. The camera is just not capturing it. This is really beautiful, but I had to stop filming this portion of it because it's not coming off on my camera as anything but bleh. This satisfied me a little more than what the black and yellow one did. I've got those sewn in columns, half of it sewn in columns. I need to put it back up on the design wall and finish, and I will insert the finishes here to show you what this looks like finished. And I will bow out with that. Thanks for watching.